You're right, YouTube. So I've just got back from the Arsenal Olympiakos game at the Emirates tonight. There's always something really special, and I really enjoy the atmosphere at matches which are under stadium floodlights, and particularly Champions League, because you know that it's something special and you know that you're lucky to be there, because next year, especially in Arsenal's position, you might not be having it. So it's a brilliant experience, really enjoy it. The build-up beforehand with the Champions League music is just superb, and it just builds everything up, and it's so exciting just by that music being played. And I challenge anyone to listen to that music and at the end not do a really high pitch to be champions, because it's just that kind of song that you just need to belt it out at full, high pitched everything. So in terms of the match, build up great. The first half was one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen Arsenal play. When you're playing football, the key principles are very simple. In attack, you want penetration. You want to score a goal. So when you've got the ball, you want to think, can I score? If you can't score, then you need depth. You need to either play it forward or have support with you nearby. You need depth. If you haven't got depth, then you need width. You need to be able to get it out wide and spread the play. If you haven't got width, then now you need to start thinking about mobility. You need to move and create space for each other. And finally, failing that, number 5, if you can't get through using those 4 other things, you need to improvise. You need to do something special, commit a player, take them out of the game, and then think again. Can we penetrate? Can we get depth? Can we get width? What Arsenal weren't doing in the first half is all of the above. They weren't doing the penetrating, they weren't doing the depth, because often Gervinho would come in and we just wouldn't have a centre forward because there wasn't rotation. There was no width after the first 20 minutes, which was bamboozling, because Jenkinson again had a brilliant game, and down that right hand side, more often than not, we got great joy, particularly in the first 20 minutes. We were crossing the ball in, but because we haven't got a proper centre forward, nothing was doing. So it was so frustrating that if we'd have just used that width better, we would have been able to play more effectively. Once the width had gone, then we needed to start thinking, well, what are we going to do to create space and movement? Again, there wasn't any rotation of positions, it was all lethargic, there wasn't any real creativity, which comes down to the last one. No one was committing their man. No one was saying, right, I'm going to take this player on. If I take this player on, it means they're out the game and we're going to have a 3v2 or a 2v1 situation, which we can then take advantage of and we can try and score a goal from it. We weren't doing it. We didn't have the players that were committing other players on the opposition into the play. So what that meant was we'd run at a player, they'd stop us, and we'd look sideways. And we'd play these sideways passes without committing anyone. If you don't commit a defender, then you're not going to get anywhere, because if you've got banks of 4 behind you trying to defend against you scoring, you can't get through them unless you commit players and make them make decisions. Walcott came on and he did a brilliant job. He made people think, well, I can either go forward and press him high, which is going to leave space in behind for someone else to run into, or for Theo to run into, or if he's going to run at me, I'm going to keep dropping off, which means you get closer and closer to goal, so you can put a cross in or you can do a shot. Even Theo's crossing looked good today, but was that because it was compared to Gervinho, who was atrocious? Now, players that do really badly through a match but still get a goal, up to a point I can think, well, okay, they're effective, so that's okay. And Gervinho has been banging in the goals. But when I say banging in, Southampton's first goal, he was going across the keeper, it went near post, it was a horrible finish. Second goal against Southampton was just a tap-in. Goal against Montpellier, tap-in, which he nearly let the keeper save. You've then got another goal tonight, which was just a horrible finish. He scuffed it, it was going at about 2 miles an hour, and how the goalkeeper didn't just get down to it, I don't know. Either way, does that goal make up for his performance being atrocious? No, it doesn't. You can't expect Giroud to come on with 10 minutes left and break this goal dust. So why is he not starting in matches like this, when I think we can all agree Gervinho has not done enough to warrant a starting position up there? When Giroud came on, he looked very decent. He made good runs, he had a couple of shots, the ball's not falling for him, but he's making movement and creating chances and linking up relatively well. He's still not perfect, and I'm not going to say he's an outstanding striker yet, because he hasn't shown that he is. But he's a striker. Gervinho is clearly not a striker. And what's Gervinho done more than Theo has to warrant being tried up front? I can't see why Gervinho has suddenly been pushed into this position over Theo and over a striker. It confuses me. So the midfield weren't doing their jobs. The defence weren't doing their jobs. Again, it was such an easy goal. Jenkinson got absolutely slaughtered for the first goal, for Olympiakos' goal. because he didn't close down the ball. But if he'd have closed down the ball, then there was a winger overlapping, or a fullback overlapping, who would have just had a straight run on goal near enough. That's Gervinho's fault. Jenkinson did exactly what he needed to do and just cover the space, because otherwise, if he committed, he would have been more bother than it was. Because if that ball gets crossed in, you expect your centre-backs to be able to deal with it. They couldn't deal with it. Koscielny and Vermaelen, again, they're not a pairing. Clearly, they're all over the place. In the Champions League, you take a win. You know, that is that. You take a win. So I'm disappointed by the performance, and we've got to improve it. I want the big effing German back against West Ham, because if Carroll's playing, we need that defensive solidity that the big German brings. We need Mertesacker back. And I just don't want to persist with Gervinho up front. I don't think it works. So, yes, we got a result. Disappointing. In terms of what I'm up to in the next few weeks, I've got tickets for Reading and Old Trafford away, but they're not until the end of October and start of November. We have got Norwich and West Ham coming up, but I haven't been able to go to those games, partly because I refuse to pay 50 quid to go and watch West Ham when I pay 49 quid to go and watch Man United. I think that's crazy pricing, and I'm not going to pay it. So I'm not going to be at those two games. I might make videos if you want. If you want to comment about what you thought of the game tonight and whether you agree on this performance and whether you think that we do need to start sharpening up, I'm sure you do. It was a terrible performance. But if you think I'm being too critical, make sure you comment and say down. And if you agree, make sure you comment down there and say. If you've liked the video, make sure you give it a like down there. And as always, make sure you subscribe for more video and more chat throughout the season. Like I say, the next games I'm going to are Reading away in the Capital Carling Cup, whatever it's called now. A couple of home games in between then, and Old Trafford coming up at the end of October, possibly the very start of November. Thank you very much. Boom. Is John Terry a racist?
No, he's not racist at all.
At all. Define at all.
He's just not. It's just, it was a mistake what didn't mean to happen, and he's not racist though. It's common football. Like
it's common in football to call people what he did.